Now, if you're an online coach and you would like to be able to get high ticket clients with Skool, then I'm going to show you some very simple and non-salesy ways to filter people off of your Skool community and to turn them into high ticket clients. So this could be group or one-on-one coaching, but the main thing is that we're doing it in a sort of organic way where we're attracting people towards us and we're not having to be overly pushy, because most of us don't want to be salesy. We want people to come to us and we want people to want to work with us. So these are the different strategies that I like to use and I see actually working right now. So the first thing that we're going to be wanting to do is to make sure that we've got traffic, good targeted traffic coming towards our Skool community in the first place. And I prefer YouTube for this. I think YouTube is a great way to get targeted views and traffic to be able to get the right members into your community in the first place. And what we then want to do once we have them inside is we want to nurture and to deliver value. So the strategy that we're going to be using for all of these different methods and strategies that I'm going to show you are basically going to be using attraction and nurturing. So it's the attraction and nurture method. So people will basically come to us, we'll get them to know, like, and trust us. Some people will want to work with us quickly and others will take longer to come to us over time. But what we want to do is we want to deliver value. So we really want to give them a lot up front. And this is often where many of us get doubts. We don't want to over deliver too much because then perhaps they're not going to want to work with us. But at the same time, we have to understand that the people that are most active in our community, the people that turn up to live calls especially, are going to be the ones that probably will want to work with you and book one-on-one coaching. It's the lurkers and the quiet ones in the background that normally don't convert. They may do at some point, and people have surprised me in the past, but generally the people that are most active are going to be the ones that are going to be the action takers, and they're going to want to work with you. Because if they like you, they know you, they trust you, then they normally want to communicate with you. So we want to get the targeted views coming in and deliver a lot of value. So we can be doing this in terms of posts. We can be doing this in terms of videos and feedback and activity inside of the community. But live calls are where they're going to get to know you. And I'm not talking about targeted calls where we're really helping them with individual things. These can be general hangouts and Q&A sessions where you can help them with little problems and they get at least a little bit of the experience of being on a call with you in a group setting or even in a one-on-one setting. And that's what we want. We want them to get exposed and to enjoy the process of working with us. So it's also trust, but giving them a taster of what it would be like. And what I see generally happening is that, yes, maybe you get 100 members coming into your Skool community and maybe 10 of them, a small percentage, are going to be the active ones, and those are going to be the ones that are probably going to work with. So you know that over time, most of the people coming into your community, especially assuming it's a free community, which is generally what most high ticket coaches are going to be doing, you're going to be having a freemium model where it's a free community and then you sell them something high ticket in the back end. But the majority of people will do nothing, and we are selling to the few that do want extra. The rest is community service. It's fine. They're creating atmosphere. We're helping those that can't afford our service, but we're also trying to attract the people that do want to work with us. And then the key to this is that we do want to still let people know that we do coaching. We do want to ask. And most of us don't tell people enough that we offer coaching. We don't have enough opportunity in there where they just think it's just a free community and that's it. So if you're not asking and you're not trying to not sell, but make people aware of your coaching services, then how would they know? And I've made this mistake in the past where people are going, oh, I didn't realize you did coaching. Yes, I would like to work with you. And it's like, aha, whoops, I wasn't asking enough. So sometimes you're not asking enough, but you can also overwhelm people. And I'm in a community right now, which is a great, very successful community, but there just is too much messaging, too much posting, too much emailing. Is overwhelming. I think they're doing a launch, but it's just all too much. So I'm actually quite busy. So the stress of that is actually making me think about leaving, which is a shame because I actually did want to potentially work with them. So we can ask too much, but we also normally don't ask enough. So make sure people know that you have coaching available to them. So most people they don't go through all your content. They don't read all of your stuff. You think, well, I had a couple of links and a couple of pieces of messages here and there in the classroom. Most people don't know. Most people will not go through all of your stuff. So we need to ask them. So the different ways that I find we can do this is the following. So the first one is the more classic sort of free training, where it's the lead magnet of some kind or what drew people into the community. So normally, if the community aspect for most of us is, especially as educators and coaches, there may be a huge focus around the community part, but normally you're giving them something additionally for free to hook them in, to get them to join your community. So that will be a free training of some kind. Maybe it's a 5-day training, maybe it's a workshop, maybe it's a 7-day challenge, something small, not too big. For example, inside my community, I'm giving away way too much at the moment, but I was planning on charging. So there's a lot of training in there that is currently for free, and you can join for free. I will link to it in the video description if you would like more training on growing your Skool community with YouTube. But for the most part, I would say don't give away too much for free. Otherwise, people will get bogged down and they'll lose momentum, especially if your task and job with this community is to get them to book a call and work with you directly in a cohort or on one-on-one. So in which case, we want to get them small wins. A small win is where it's at. So get them a win to further build that trust. You know, if they came in through YouTube and now they're in the community, trust is building, and then you get them a small win, now they're willing to get their money out much more likely. So we want to do that. So a small win, small training, and then with an option like the say at the end of that program, that short program, that workshop, whatever you're going to do, you would then have a book a call option. So that would be the first part where you would have a book a call option. So assuming that they went through the program, they're going to see that, and then you could obviously monitor if they were doing it as well to see who's completing it, who's not. But that's going to be the most straightforward way. So hopefully people would normally come into the community, they would do the free training, and then they would want the next step because they got a mini win. Very simple sort of lead magnet, free training, evolution, elevation. The next one is doing a post. This is the most direct ask. This is where we say, hey, I've got space available for one-on-one coaching. If you would like to work with me, then hey, book a free call, let's chat, let's have a free strategy call, and I'll see how I can help you. And, you know, make sure it's limited. You could do this potentially every month if you wanted. If you said, I've got a couple of spots, maybe you could do it every 6 weeks. And for the most part, for myself, I don't ask a lot because I'm normally pretty full. So I don't have a lot of availability, especially with my time zone. But for you, obviously, you might want to ask a little bit more often. I say I've got 3 spots that are opened up. I've got 1. This also creates a degree of urgency. So it's also a good strategy to use in general. But literally just ask. Booking one-on-one. You say in the post what you do. We'll help you with this, help you get this end result, this transformation, whatever it is. So almost the post is a bit like you explaining your offer and the outcome and the thing that you'll help them with. You don't have to go into too much detail here, but hopefully they already know who you are, they know what you do, so they understand normally if they then book a call. Most of the people that book a call from these posts, I find they already kind of want to work with you. They just want to know what you've got and if they can afford it, basically. So normally these are very successful. So you want to ask directly with a post. And again, if it's one-on-one, you could ask that way. Or if it was a small cohort, which is the next way, so we then would do a small cohort, which is the same as asking in the post, but it's a small group cohort that we have going on. And this would be, maybe you do this every other month, maybe you do it every 3 months, maybe you do it twice a year. This could be a small group, very high ticket. I see groups where they do twice a year and that's it. Everything else is free, but they make a huge amount of money on those 6-month launches and they have a long run up towards it. Whereas you might, to begin with, want to just have regular people coming in and, you know, and basically be able to sell to them. But the benefit of a cohort is that, for example, my time is almost maxed out. I don't have a huge amount of it. So therefore, one-on-one is not really a good option for me anymore. So therefore, I will probably be moving to a cohort very soon. And the cohort will be a small group of people, normally with a fixed time. So let's say 8 weeks or something like that. And then afterwards, it's full, it's closed, and there's a waiting list. And then the great thing about the waiting list is you can build a buzz before. The first dibs come to the people on the waiting list. and then very quickly you open it up and then it's full again. And the quicker it's filled, the more demand and urgency there is as people will want to work with you in future. And this is a great way of creating urgency and making more money from the amount of time that you have. So a cohort with a transformation, small group, over-delivering is a really good way of, again, getting people to come to you. The next way of doing it is with an evergreen cohort, which is normally an evolution of this. So at some point, you've got systems in place. Maybe you have a way to onboard new people. So you can onboard new members as they come in for the cohort to make sure that the old people mixing with the new people, they're separated for a couple of weeks maybe while you get them up to speed and you work with them to get them going. But then they can turn up to the general calls where they're getting into a flow of things depending on what you're doing. So the idea would be an evergreen cohort that you can just keep opening and closing the doors. And this is what I like. It's kind of an open close thing going on. But you're not having to create a new space, take on board a whole bunch of people, start from scratch again. There's going to be some old and new in there and a lot of ongoing. But you open and close in the same way to create urgency and say, okay, we've got 10 places this month, opening it up and then closing it. And just say every month you do that because you actually want to onboard those new people, but then they're into the system. And what you could potentially do even better would be to then charge them an annual amount. So it would be a reoccurring sort of amount that's going on. And you could potentially do monthly, but if you were doing annual or something, you give them a reason to stay, and there's a good chance that they will then stay long term and continue to pay you year on year. So you may make even more money out of them in the long term. So I like these ongoing evergreen types of cohorts. Now, another way to reach the people inside, as well as the posts and emails and so on, to build demand for these different types of things here, is the DMs option. Now, I'm not a fan of DMing everybody and being overly aggressive because this is a less passive one. So there's a little bit of salesiness to this. They potentially know you. But a strategy that I do like is that when you're doing a launch for, say, one of these cohorts, you can reach out to people a little bit more. They're going to know what you're doing. But you target members who have already responded to DMs. So you build up warm momentum by reaching out to people. Now, your auto DM would potentially, when members sign up, tell you who's active, who communicated with you. And you should always do an auto DM and then follow up with a regular DM that's even more personalized. And if you don't get a response to that, intermittently, I would go back and DM them again and DM them again. And then when you know they're completely dead, obviously you know that this is not someone that you should waste your time on. But you could have a list of the people that are fairly active, although you would see when you just open up their DMs. So you don't have to start building a whole system for this and getting complicated. But you could literally just go in when you're going through members to message people and see who the most active ones are. And they're the ones that you would want to try and follow up with to try and generate a call from them when you're launching a cohort. And you could do that on an ongoing basis. You could do that from the moment that you're starting a conversation with them when they first sign up. So if I had an evergreen cohort, I would want to be more active with these people and I would keep that conversation going, because then when I'm going live or saying, if you want to book a call, let's chat and see if I can help you out. And then you could tell them about the cohort and then potentially sell them on to the next round of people that you're bringing inside. So DMs are great, but definitely just for the most active people. So those are a few strategies to be able to grow your high ticket coaching business with Skool. I hope you found that useful. If you did, hit the like button. And again, if you would like to join our free community to help grow your coaching business with YouTube and Skool, then I will link to our community in the video description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.